Jeffrey Dahmer, one of the most infamous serial killers in history. His reign of terror spanned over a decade, claiming 17 lives. Today, we continue our deep dive into the horrifying details of his crimes, beginning with his fourth victim and the tragic pattern that followed. April 1988, Dahmer meets 25-year-old Richard Guerrero. He lured Richard to his grandmother's home with the promise of money for intimate photos. What followed was the same grim routine: drugging, strangulation, and disposal. His grandmother, unaware of the horror unfolding under her roof, grew suspicious of Dahmer's late-night activities. By this time, Dahmer was refining his methods, getting more calculated and evasive. But that didn't stop him. His next victim, Anthony Sears, a 24-year-old aspiring model, met Dahmer at a bar in 1989. Unlike previous victims, Dahmer kept parts of Sears' body, marking the beginning of his morbid fascination with preserving remains. With his own apartment now, Dahmer had complete freedom to act on his darkest desires. Victims became more frequent. Edward Smith, Ricky Beeks, Ernest Miller, David Thomas, one after the other, all fell prey to Dahmer's twisted fantasies. Each time, he became more depraved, experimenting with different methods of disposal and preservation. In 1991, the pace quickened. 5 victims in just 3 months: Curtis Strotter, Errol Lindsay, Tony Hughes. Dahmer was spiraling out of control. He even attempted bizarre zombie-like experiments, drilling holes into his victims' skulls in a twisted attempt to keep them alive but submissive. But Dahmer's brutal acts were beginning to draw attention. A foul stench filled his apartment complex. Neighbors complained. Yet no one took action. The horror continued. Connor sent to some phone. A 14-year-old boy managed to escape. Naked and drugged, he stumbled into the street. But in a tragic twist of fate, the police, convinced by Dahmer's lies, returned the boy to him. Hours later, Conorak was dead. Matt Turner, Jeremiah Weinberger, Oliver Lacey, and finally, Joseph Braidhoft. All taken in the final months before Dahmer's arrest in July 1991. When Tracy Edwards managed to escape and flagged down police, the nightmare finally came to light. What they found inside Dahmer's apartment would shock the world. Polaroids of dismembered bodies, severed heads in the fridge, and barrels filled with acid. The Milwaukee monster was finally stopped. Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes left a permanent scar on history. But behind the horror, we must remember the victim's sons, brothers, friend who had their lives stolen too soon. If you found this deep dive informative, consider subscribing for more true crime content. And as always, stay safe out there.
With me. As I was turning the door, I saw him swinging a blade at me right about my head area. I hit him in the groin area. And then he kind of just it was like a glancing blow. It really didn't hurt him all that much. So he got up as I was turning the knobs to reach and grab my arm again, and then I had to hit him again. And it just looked like, sit back and come back, and told me that. After he started grabbing me as I was going out the door.
You pull yourself away.
Right.
You run down one flight of stairs.
Right.
You're in the streets.
Right.
You run into a cop car right away?
Yeah, as soon as I get out. First, when I was running through the hall, I guess the people heard the struggle in the building. They asked me what was going on. I was so much in shock, I couldn't say anything. I just kept running until I saw the cops. It was like a half a block as I got outside. Yep, and the cops was there then.
And what'd you say? Who said what to who? Whom?
Okay, I stopped the cops. I came up to